Excited. Our first LAN cast together, and we've got such a hype series after so long, Jonathan. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah.
Game number one.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, Mike, and, glad to finally make it in time. As, again, really interesting drafts from both sides, still leaning towards TSM. In the end, I just like that global presence they have. Their lanes don't look too bad as well. We're going to have to see if they can pull that magic off here in Spirit. Like, it feels like a lot is riding on that off lane with the DK techies. It's got to be that oppressive presence, They've got to be able to just jump in, play around, play with a blast off, play with a sticky bomb, and just prevent that moment of the CK from just feeling too tanky. Because once CK hits something like level 3, it does feel really good there.
It's a very interesting ward being placed by Yatoro already, John. On the high ground right there. Yatoro just kind of abusing the mischief, getting into the courier, getting that bonus movement speed and running around. Oh, Yatoro in the enemy base now. What's the idea here, Yatoro? Is he going after couriers? This is what we're doing, Jonathan. He's going right after them. The Chaos Knight courier is right by. He will just wait around a little bit. It does go a little bit forward.
Oh, they see it.
They do see it. Time to back off, boys. Get those couriers back to the base. Yatoro, he should be fine to get out of here, I think. Just run his way by the towers because, towers cannot focus the Mischief courier, apparently. So it does seem like it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounty runes anyway, or it should be at the very least. And, yeah, Yatoro, he's just fine.
Yeah, manages to bail out. Doesn't find any couriers, but his presence wasn't really missed, so not the biggest loss in the world. While we are up top, we're going to take a look at that lane. We were talking about those combinations with a Shaman, right? The Shackles play with a safe laner. Monkey King is the big one that does play off of that really well. So you can play with a Jingu, just build it up and get the damage off, especially up against the lane of Underlord and Enchantress here from TSM with Brawl and Dubu on it. This is a pretty manageable lane for Yatoro if he does manage to build up the Jingu, but that takes levels. And before that point, Dubu, he's already got that Blightstone. Just look at the right-click damage he has. That's without Impetus up as well. Hasn't skilled anything up. It's just a lot of damage out to Yatoro, and Miposhka's just got to be able to try to trade hits, but he's not able to. I mean, he's got the Ether Shock and clear out the wave a little bit, shove it back, but just look at Dubu's position, always cutting off Yatoro, making every CS hurt here.
I mean, Dubu's a great Enchantress player. I believe this is one of his favorite heroes to play, so I'm not too shocked to see Dubu just kind of already trying to get as much harassment in as possible here, but we'll have a look at the other lanes while we have a chance as well. Of course, mid lane, Toronto, Tokyo, going for a bit of a creep pull around as Quinn is going to be against him on the Death Prophet. You'd argue this should be a Viper-favored lane naturally, but Quinn might be able to pull the creep wave around and just try to avoid the matchup altogether here on this DP. What are you thinking, John? Is there a particular way Quinn can play this? In fact, they're going to go in for a Spirit Siphon right now, and I suppose that's one way to do it. Every time Toronto Tokyo comes in for a few poison attacks, you just go for the Siphon, and you're borderline able to just kind of heal up anyway.
Yeah, it's a back and forth one, Mike. You can try to trade hits with Toronto Tokyo on the Viper. Rune control's really the big aspect here because both heroes rely on those runes to spam out their spells. So.
Yeah, top lane, he's in big trouble. He'll get the Fairy Fire off. Dubu gonna go for a chase, has the movement speed, and Yatoro is gonna drop as Miposhka does manage to trade on the Shaman, but it's a great start here already for TSM FTX.
Yeah, it's not a great feeling for Team Spirit there, Mike. Again, just Dubu with his positioning, cutting off, making sure Miposhka can't trade hits with him, and that he can focus entirely on the Monkey King. Not the best thing in the world for Yatoro. A slower start in the top lane. You do want to get that snowball effect going here for Yatoro, as he is queuing up a Battle Fury as well. So any delay in that itemization for the Monkey King just means there's more time for TSM FTX to just play that run and gun once they have the levels up here.
Well, let's have a look at that final lane, Jonathan. Hold that thought, Miposhka. He's going to be fine. Of course, down at bot lane, Tomato is going to be there along with Moon Meander, and they're going to be against Mira and Collapse. They do start to move in with the stun out. Mira, he'll get a sticky bomb off, but he's copying so much damage. Tomato almost taking him down just with the bonus attack speed there from the IO. Collapse is going to be able to harass him back a little bit, but this is kind of what you mentioned during that draft phase, Jonathan. This Chaos Knight, it hurts.
It hurts a lot, and you've got the classic IO combination. Your healing is always there. It just gets worse from here. Like the win condition for Team Spirit in this lane is like really faster levels. You wanted to get Blast Off and the Sticky Bomb ready to go. You kind of want to isolate the IO. And it's not like Collapse can just walk up and try to get a Dragon Tail off. They don't even have that in this lane. Collapse forced to play Breed Fire to try to manage Tomato, but RCK is already off to that strong start, 16-6. All the lanes of TSM FTX looking great. Outside of maybe mid, even that lane for Quinn is drawing even. So that momentum for Team Spirit it's going to take a while for them to find it, and they're going to have to figure out how to buy that space for a Monkey King who is queuing up that battlefield. Like, Yatoro is still going to need a lot of time to build up if they will finish that item.
Well, at the very least, Yatoro, he does manage to get a kill there onto Dubu, so a bit of a sweet, sweet revenge for the Monkey King, and if you can find that a few more times, you'd be more than happy as this MK. Suppose the thing is as well, like if you can land the shackles here with Maposhka, it's always going to be very easy to get the Jingu Mastery into the Boundless Strike here for Yatoro, and of course, while Dubu isn't level 6 yet, the Untouchable's not going to be there to slow him down, and it is rather easy if they can land that Shackles, but we'll see if they can do it again here at the top lane. Of course, for Bryle, I mean, you could try for the Underlord, but I'd say it's a bit harder to try and take him down. Maybe Yatoro could try to just get the Jingu Mastery proc and go after Dubu, but he's already rotated into the Dire Jungle. And it's one of those things as well. Dubu hasn't made the rotation into the mid lane yet. His focus has been at the top lane, so I suppose it's going to be very important for him to keep his Underlord safe and alive. But I wonder at what stage Dubu decides maybe he does want to move in, as they are going to go in with the Tomato Creep. Yatoro being slowed up, Boundless Strike will be there, and Dubu should not have enough damage. But he is going to be able to harass them and force them back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you really want that Ench rotating to the mid lane anyway here, Mike. I mean, you're rotating into a Viper, right? Like, that's the one of the things that Team Spirit do get from that, although.
Yeah, Maposhka gets caught out very awkwardly in the tree line there and does get taken down. One of the things with Enchantress as well, John, when you enchant a creep, naturally it's going to be on cooldown. In fact, hold that Thor, because down at bot lane, they're going to be onto Tomato, but he's going to be fine. The point I was trying to make with Dubu there, in fact, hold that Thor once again, John. Rift is in, Sticky Bomb out, but Mira in big trouble. Is going to drop, collapse. He'll try to go for a bit of a trade here onto the CK, but it's looking a bit rough for him. He doesn't have the mana to spam out that Breathe Fire, and nothing like a Soul Ring to help him out either. Meanwhile, top lane, more action to break out as Bryle in big trouble. They'll hex him up. Bryle, maybe one more hit away. Yatoro, he will get the Jingu, but the Pit of Malice is there. They need the Boundless Strike, but it's on cooldown. Instead, they're going to have to go after Dubu, but Maposhka, he's dropping so darn low. They'll get rooted up again, Dubu. Can he juke this one out? Yatoro, he'll get rooted one last time as Dubu's still running around. There's the enchant out. Boundless, it's going to land, but Yatoro, he's taking a lot of damage. He's not going to be able to chase in Dubu. Is going to be just fine to back out, and so will be the Underlord.
Yeah, they managed to back off. They find a kill for themselves on that overextension out from Team Spirit. They do at least find that kill bot. Collapse eventually does find Tomato in the end. So it does kind of balance out. You are keeping that CK in check. It just feels like Yatoro's really not getting as much as he'd want to on that Monkey King. Right, like we always talk about CK farm. Once he hits level 6 there, Mike, you get Phantasm. You flash farm pretty fast.
Oh, here we go, John. Mid lane. It's the rotation I was asking for. That 5-minute siege creep is up now, so they can definitely just tank with the enchanted creep. And this is one thing you always seem to want to do with the Ench, is just try to connect mid during the 5-minute bounty route, or rather 5-minute siege creep. But there is going to be a Shackles there from Maposhka. That'll mean that Dubu is going to get punished for his rotation. But look at the amount of damage he's done to that tier 1. It's massive.
Oh yeah, that's all he needed. Throw a body for it. He got the right creep as well to sacrifice. The yellow little potato with the aura on that, so added attack speed on the siege creep. And Toronto Tokyo should still be able to save it, but it's going to be within deny range.
Yeah, Quinn, great rotation out on the Death Prophet, able to pick up the Monkey King kill once again for his team. And, well, Quinn, he is level 7. He's just waiting for the bottle fill up from Dubu to get the mana for his Exorcism, but it doesn't... Maybe he will stay around top. Do you want to go after the top tier 1 tower now, or maybe you could rotate mid again? It seems like Quinn, he's going to try after Maposhka into the tier 1. There's the Exorcism out. Pit of Malice going to lock down Maposhka. He's going to try to run, but surely no way out for him as he does go for the Shackle, but it's not going to help his cause. He is going to drop once again to Quinn. And Bryle, he'll take care of that top tier 1 tower, no problem. In fact, you see the line drawn out to the mid lane. They might have enough time to connect to that tier 1 mid tower.
That's only one swipe away, 31 HP. So they don't really need to commit too much. Deny opportunity for Toronto Tokyo, and he does find it. But that's 2 big objectives taken for TSM FTX. And again, we talked about the timings here, Mike. They're inching towards those level 6s. They're inching towards relocate, towards that Dark Portal, Fiend's Gate as well. And once those are up, they're just going to be able to run around and keep forcing fights. It is worrying for Spirit. Again, you've got Yatoro here still queuing up the battlefield. He's still level 5, doesn't have the best lane to farm at anymore. And you're just seeing that farming difference between the CK and the Monkey King ramp up. You've already got Phantasm and Timado. They don't need to play for kills on the CK. He can just farm as all the jungle he wants, and no one can stop him with a Phantasm up.
No, absolutely not. I suppose the one bright side right now for Spirit is the fact that Collapse is getting a lot of damage off onto this bottom tier 1 tower, but you kind of expect that from a Dragon Knight. Not too surprising for this to happen as Tomato. He's going to be around to try and protect this, and we'll do a good job of it. Able to just kind of hold out with that tier 1, but Collapse, he'll keep moving in, keep trying to chip away, and eventually I suppose you could try for a deny, but they aren't even going to do that. They'll let Collapse take it. Meanwhile, Dubu in the dive jungle could be in a bit of trouble now as Yatoro is going to move in. Bryle, he'll be there to help out with the Pit of Malice, and it's a very good kind of choke point for TSM FTX. Just not allowing Dubu to get caught out, and you see how great Dubu's playing this Ench already, Jonathan. Just following down the cores in the dire jungle, not leaving them alone, and look at Maposhka. So much damage being dealt already into the Shaman. He just can't fight back.
He's just zoned out of his own jungle. They've got a good ward here from Spirit, but he can't even use that ward. He can't play into it. They are at least still holding onto their triangle. Not many stacks built up. And again, it's just reaching that point for TSM FTX where they've got this really strong early to mid-game presence. They can just keep forcing down these waves, keep buying time for the CK to farm into the Armlet, BKB, and Blink, and just play around, relocate, play around the Fiend's Gate, and just keep shutting Team Spirit out. Like, the map is shrinking. They're still waiting for that farm acceleration out for Yatoro, and you are building up on Collapse. Again, the playmaking here for Team Spirit's really on the DK Blink. And once that's up, maybe you could play with a smoke, line up, kill, try to gun for Roshan off a pickoff. It just feels a lot harder to pull those win conditions out for Team Spirit, because they're going to need to do that multiple times. For TSM FTX, if they just play the game like this, keep it stable, then your CK is just going to hit critical mass much faster than your Monkey King will in this game.
Oh, look at Dubu, John. You've got to really appreciate this this pause for Ench, though. He's maybe going to get ganked up here. There is going to be a relocate out, but it might be too late. Dubu is going to drop already, but they'll still try and force the fight. They know they're ahead right now, but Tomato, he may have gone a bit too far. It's a lot of damage out from Toronto Tokyo as Tomato's still being healed up, but it's not going to be enough. Quinn, though, he's going to move in and try to salvage the situation, but it looks like he's fed his own life away. Team Spirit getting together just in the nick of time, able to kind of punish his Maposhka. Which way's he gone?
He went in.
Maposhka, what are you doing? What are you doing, Maposhka?
I mean, we've all been saying it. Eventually, someone's gonna TP into the fountain from that, and Maposhka decides to check, gets punished. So you don't get away empty on TSM FTX. It's not the biggest kill for you to find in exchange, to be fair. I'm sure it's just a nice little giggle moment there.
Oh goodness me! We'll have a look a bit of a replay here for that last team fight, John. And I think they wanted to try and help out, but Dubu was already down. Tomato ends up giving his own life away. You get Toronto Tokyo, but to give your life away as the Death Prophet, not going to be a great feeling, and just overall a great team fight for Spirit. Considering how bad the laning stage went for them, that's something they desperately felt like they needed.
Yeah, they're finding a way to punish TSM's overreaction. I think for TSM FTX, they can't afford to be reactive, right? Like, you've got these great spells to come in and force these fights on your terms. You can't go into what Team Spirit wants. They're already clumped up. They're already just ganking up a pause 4. Not the biggest target in the world. You've got to be able to cut those losses, look for the opportunity elsewhere, and come back in. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the one thing there for TSM. And they overextend, they want to save their buddy, and they get punished for it instead.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, John, we did get to see Maposhka just kind of, you know, going through the dark portal. I appreciate that, Maposhka. He's doing it for the memes. You've always got to appreciate that. I'm not sure if it was by accident, but it was pretty darn hilarious. That's for sure. So we do get it back into game number 1. Mouse problems have been resolved here for TSM FTX, so happy days for them. Back to that dire jungle, Dubu still being a real nuisance here on this Ench, but this time around they do seem a lot more hesitant as TSM FTX, and considering they got that mid-tier 1 tower early, this is something you want to do, is infiltrate that dire jungle and just not allow their cores to have that part of the map. And Dubu's trying his best to do so, but you've got to be very wary not to overextend if you are TSM.
Yeah, and I like what Team Spirit's doing, right? They keep that ward placed and active in that top jungle. You've always got Miposhka checking, and it does give that sense that Team Spirit wants to play there, but they're not. They're playing down bot. They've been playing their triangle. They are still trying to find farm. It's not a huge lead for TSM. There is a bit of a smoke play out, trying to scout that triangle, but again, Team Spirit's already kind of
Yatoro
pumped up bot and settled, though.
That's a big pickup. Yatoro is going to get scouted out. He'll go for a nice boundless, but can he get his way out? Oh, it doesn't seem like it. Stun is going to fly in. Mischief Dodge won't be there, and he does go down, but now Toronto's going to try and punish his collapse. He does jump in. They've got the CK Pos 1 Tomato. He's going to go for the Phantasm and try to survive, but here comes Mira with the blast off, and look at the damage output. Mira Maposh is gone. Peter Malice out. They do finally find Tomato, but what's it going to cost the side of Team Spirit? It's going to cost a hell of a lot. They'll lose a fourth, and they might even lose a fifth as collapse is going to be able to blink out. But it's one of those things, like, you can never underestimate the movement of the Underlord, the repositioning with that Dark Portal, and well, with that Pit of Malice, they really started to clean up.
Then we just got really good area holdout from TSM FTX. And Team Spirit, again, it just hinges on that single target control. Once the Dragon Tail's out, that's your big play. You're not banking off of Wukong's just yet. Yatoro is not nearly farmed enough to stand center and just hold a fight. He doesn't even have it leveled up. You're not going to see a blink out anytime soon from Miposhka. So it's all down in DK. And if you do get that jump in and don't immediately burst someone down, the entire fight just feels a lot tougher. And this time around, TSM FTX manages to find that entrance. Yeah, they sacrificed Tomato. Not the biggest deal in the world. It's a CK. Still number 2 in net worth. Still building into that BKB. He doesn't need too much to get going. Whereas, again, in comparison here for Team Spirit, Yatoro, bottom network core, still working towards Battle Fury. Things can lighten up with there, but still a process for Team Spirit. They will go for a smoke play here, knowing that a couple of those spells are down, and they could try to play with that Dragon Tail stun once more.
Well, they've got the vision out from Yatoro and Quinn. And Meander going to show down the bot lane, but can they catch him in time? Quinn, he does get jumped. Dragon Tail is there. Wards drop, but look at the healing coming out. Moon Meander keeping him alive, but not for long. Quinn is going to drop, but here comes the cavalry. TSM FTX, they have at least caught Collapse, but he's just going to kind of zone them out with the backup of Mira. And Team Spirit, they'll be able to get away with a great kill onto that DP. Just see if they can find a little bit more here, as they are going to head into the mid lane where they are going to find Tomato. But he'll send his illusion in and kind of leave it at that. Yatoro, he'll make the jump in, but he's going to know that's an illusion now. No Jingu Mastery coming out for him. Tomato, he's going to be just fine, but you've got to be rather happy here as Spirit picking up that DP.
Yeah, it's a pretty big kill. They are playing around the tempo that the Dragon Tail stun does provide them. I'm surprised they had so much damage, actually. Like, that full heal from Moon Meander looked really big. Just not enough because of the output coming through with the techie. Still, TSM smoking up themselves.
That they are. TSM, they find. And Bryle, he's got that Rod of Atos, so it's very easy to set up. They are going to miss out with the Pit of Malice. I believe that was Collapse in the tree line, but he does get a quick blink away. I mean, I suppose they could try to play for Roshan now if you are TSM FTX. They are going to try. X's him out. Dubu, he'll tank with the Untouchable. Makes it a lot easier for TSM, and it does seem like Team Spirit may just have no idea this is happening. They have no vision around the Roshan pit right now.
No, they don't have the information. All the rewards are bot-centric to secure that farm. That is giving that big opening for TSM. And again, it doesn't take too long. EXO, percent-based damage from the Underlord. That will give the secondary life out to Tomato. And this is when they can run and gun once more. They have Relocate ready. They could just jump around if they wanted to. Team Spirit is making that a bit tough. You know, they are playing really defensive, just holding bot, just getting that build-up. We're only an item away here for Yatoro to finally have Battle Fury, so our Monkey King can start ramping up. He's at least overtaken Quinn now on the Death Prophet, so you're starting to reach that time where this investment in the Monkey King will eventually pay off. It does feel like we're still like 5-10 minutes away from the next major items for Yatoro, but once that build-up's there, the Monkey King should start to eclipse that CK's farm. You know, his uptime on Phantasm, not the best. You know, there are moments where the Monkey King's just a lot more efficient. I think what we need to see now here, Mike, is TSM FTX take that initiative. We've been seeing Team Spirit for the past few minutes here, dictating these fights, you know, looking for those openings, working the map their way. With the Aegis up, I think TSM FTX have to be the ones jumping in, play with that Relocate, play with a Dark Portal, the Fiend's Gate, and just force an issue. Look for an objective to play off this Aegis and start to threaten high ground a bit just to make Team Spirit a little less comfy with a farm on the Yatoro.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Maybe they're just waiting out the BKB on Tomato before they do move in, and he is quite close to being able to pick that full recipe up now. Mira is going to be around on the techies, but obviously won't be able to make the jump in at that level 8 mark at the moment. Meanwhile, Ping's coming out towards the top side of the map. They may want to try and go for a gank towards that tree line up north, and Maposhka, he might just show himself at the wrong moment. Bryle gonna find him, but a quick hex out onto the Underlord, but it won't matter. Pit of Malice is gonna land on the Shadow Shaman. Probably not gonna make it out of this one. Maposhka is gonna drop once again, and that's perfect timing because now you've got the BKB up and available. It might be time to group up the TSM FTX.
Yep, they've got a lot on hand. They do find Collapse, just no backup. TPs are coming in, but Collapse does manage to blink away still.
So they're trying to take down the IO. Moon Meander, he'll pop the mech. Tomato will move in onto Miran. That'll be the techies gone. No problem. You've got the mech up, and now with the Dark Portal, where are they headed? Up towards the top lane, Yatoro. He doesn't see the Dark Portal. Pit of Malice is out. Yatoro, he's got to go for the Wukong's command, but it may not work out for him as Tomato. He's right on top. That'll be the Monkey King gone. Great use of the Dark Portal and just kind of using it within that tree line there, John. They had no idea it was coming.
And that's what we've been wanting to see with that Underlord pick for a while. You know, we'd see it here and there in Southeast Asia and in EU when we were casting, and we never saw those sneaky plays. You've got to find the angles for that hero. That's where he's great. Flanking is just huge on the Underlord right now, and TSM find that perfect angle after finding Kill's bot. Yatoro feels safe. He's not. The global presence is there. And they just make it hellish for the side of Team Spirit, who still need that build-up in the Monkey King. He only has Battle Fury, Mike. He's not ready to go at all. They find that objective off the back of that Aegis. They can start threatening high ground. They can take the outpost, take control of top jungle completely. And now Team Spirit has to find a way to stall for at least 5 to 10 minutes. You know, BKB is going to be a good launching point for Monkey King. It just doesn't feel enough. You need some damage items up. You need some durability items up as well on this hero. And TSM, FTX are just not going to give you that opening to stall. Yeah,
it's a very hard situation now for Team Spirit, but we'll see what they can get done. I mean, the game's certainly not over yet. Just a very difficult time right now with a 5k net worth lead to go the way of TSM, FTX. 20 minutes into the game, but once again, with the Battle Fury up in Yatoro, just needs a bit more time to get that farm up. Maybe once you've got the BKB, you can start to really get involved, but he's having a very rough time so far here, Yatoro. The 8k net worth in comparison to, say, the 10.5k of the Chaos Knight. Not a very fun time whatsoever. And it's probably not going to get any more fun here for Spirit John, because there is a big smoke up. TSM FTX, they know Mirror's in the tree line somewhere. He does try to get away with the blast off and does make it out, but the stunner is going to follow him down, and Mirror, oh, he's got no way out now, surely. He'll go for a bomb. It's just not going to work. I suppose at the very least, it's better Mirror than Yatoro, but top lane, quick relocate out. There's your Dark Portal once again. They've got Toronto, Tokyo this time. Oh, I love this strategy. I love it. Dark Portal, relocate, all of it's there, and it's just so hard to know when it's coming.
Yeah, TSM's just been executing on that play just so well. They know the angles they have to take. They immediately go down bot after finding kills top. Don't really manage to catch out Yatoro this time, but they are getting that pressure onto the mid-tier 2 here, Mike. Just Tomato, the tomato creep of Dubu and Moon to get that work done. Another objective to play off the back of that Aegis right as it expires. Perfect timing here from TSM.
Yeah. Well, you need, John, 2 tomatoes in the mid lane, taking to that T2 tower. Excuse the pun. Down at bot lane, Bryle. Well, he's currently being stalked right now, as they are going to jump in for a bit of a stun out from Collapse. Quinn is there to try and help out, and Bryle, he's a tanky boy. He'll pop the BKB, but it's just too much physical damage. But here comes the cavalry. Quinn, he's dropping low, but he'll pop his own BKB, and in comes Moon Meander, trying to keep him safe, but they do get the TPs away. It's only Mirror left, and so I dare say that's a great pickoff for Team Spirit. But my God, did it look kind of tough taking it.
They had to commit a lot, and that did force the BKB use out from our Underlord. It's not enough to really make him uncomfy. He still managed to save the charge here on Tomato. They still managed to take a tower off of it. The map is just shrinking so fast for Team Spirit. Despite finding some of these skirmish wins, it still feels like a massive issue of just putting all your eggs now onto the Monkey King basket, right? Like, this is the hero that's going to be scaling up. You've got some scaling with Viper and DK, but not in the same way the Monkey King has his presence. And you're still a long ways away from Yatoro just hitting that point.
Look at this, John. Dubu just watching collapse. He's going to blink right into them as well. He thought he was safe, but a relocate's happening. Where are they headed? Uh-oh. I mean, they got Maposhka. Not really sure it was worth the relocate anyway, but they kind of miss out on collapse instead.
Yeah, they missed that opportunity. I mean, sometimes you get a bit gun happy and, you know, trigger happy. You jump in, you expect more heroes in that relocate. Not much. Yeah, they are much more willing now on Team Spirit to make some sacrifices. Still opening for mid. And it's just that push coming through from TSM that's just so hard for Spirit to hold up against.
Yeah, meanwhile, Mira just gets kind of blown up here by Tomato. They are going to start to move in into that tier 3 tower mid lane. TSM FTX, they've just hit all their timings perfectly with this draft. This is what you can't underestimate, this NA squad here against Team Spirit. Even with a stand-in. I mean, this is an NA prodigy here, Quinn. He's been doing a fantastic job, Jonathan.
That he has. As they just take the objectives, they back off, they still have DP, they've got Enchantress. I mean, you're playing against a Shadow Shaman. You know, it feels like Team Spirit should be able to have this presence as well on objectives. They're just not given the room to do that. They've not had access to Roshan. We'll see if they'll have an open for the next Rosh, but again, they've lost control of their top jungle. They don't have forward wards on Team Spirit's end. The ball is in TSM's hands now. You know, they've got the power to dictate this game. They've got that global presence. They've got really good farm up under CK, and they find more.
Oh, they're going to find even more now. Collapse just getting caught out. We'll try for the TP play, and he actually makes it. Well, the BKB up, they could not hold him in place. The damage just wasn't quite there. As such high bonus armor for that Dragon Knight. So even with Tomato, you just didn't have the damage output. And you kind of mentioned this during the draft phase, John, but this could be an issue for Tomato later on against such high armor heroes. You know, for now, you've got great amounts of damage, but will you have the same in, say, 10 minutes if the game still goes that long?
I think you can. You can itemize against that from the DK. You could just go for the Silver Edge that we're seeing Tomato queue up now, so the break effect's going to be big, and something like an AC can also counteract some of that armor downline. So there are ways for the CK to manage that, and for Team Spirit, it's a good way to waste some time right now. Put your DK on the front line. They will go for a smoke play off the back of that. So it's like we were talking about. They want to kind of secure that next Rosh. Still a minute on the respawn. But if they find that pickoff here, Team Spirit, they've still got a Shadow Shaman. They can still make short work of that objective.
Well, certainly so. Team Spirit, though, they do seem a little bit hesitant here, John. Not really moving out of that dire jungle yet. Roshan's up in 40, so it's great timing for a team fight if they can pull a victory out. As Mira kind of makes it obvious he is around, just trying to blow up that Alpha Wolf creep, and he does eventually get it. I suppose the mine is going to be able to tell him when Roshan is back up, but now TSM FTX, they know they were smoked up around the Roshan pit, so in they move. They're going to be moving blind into the high ground, but there's the ward down. They've got the vision now. Toronto, quick BKB out, Tomato. He'll be able to force staff away just in the nick of time. At least Dubu does get the 4-staff off at the nick of time. And so nothing comes out of either smoke. But as you can imagine, the game is very well and truly about Roshan now, and it's going to be very important for either side to be able to pick this one up.
And that's a big BKB use forced out from TSM FTX. The Viper wants to hold the front line, doesn't have that spell immunity for a full minute. Roshan is up. So if TSM FTX forces that fight in the pit, you're not going to be very comfy here for Toronto Tokyo to just hold the line and do the damage he needs to, as they will start that Rosh now.
Can you fight this, though? As Team Spirit, like, you can't really afford to let this one go down. You've got Miro around. He's going to try and go for a steal, but he's a bit too early to the party. He'll go for a blast off, but it is going to be his own life being given the way of TSM FTX. I suppose it was a nice attempt trying to go in blind into the Roshan pit, but again, just way too early here for Team Spirit. And they won't even try to counter this Roshan play whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a nice quick take once more for TSM. Secondary life on Tomato. Free shard for RCK as well. So you've got the Chaos Ball Illusion coming out. Even more damage. Even more of an annoyance out to the supports. And for Team Spirit, they had the right idea, I think. You know, they were camping up top. They expected TSM FTX to be the aggressors. Just quick fingers out from TSM to avoid that fight and force the BKB. If Toronto Tokyo didn't pop his BKB, that could have been the opening. You could still walk into Roshan with spell immunity along with your DK You could try to do some damage. You could try to snag that Roche or make it more awkward for TSM. Now it's just an opening for high ground for them.
Oh, Collapse is going to be careful. He's got some teammates around, but here comes the Dark Portal once again from Brawl to just lock down Collapse, who tries to BKB up, but it's probably not going to be enough. They've got so much damage. I suppose Collapse does kind of tank the gank for his team, but we'll see what they can get out of this. As TSM FTX right back into the Dark Portal. They're going to be just fine. Back to the other side of the map. They might just go high ground.
I mean, they would if, if their course went along.
Whoopsie. They didn't quite make it in time.
Yeah, no, they didn't channel in time. Portal does fade. Still not a big missed opportunity. They could just look to maybe force that bot tier 2 if they want to, take the last outer tower away from Team Spirit and really just apply that pressure across the map. And Mira's trying to hold the front lines, plant some procs, but Tomato's on the hunt.
Yeah, not for long, Mira. He's going to be able to blast off. He'll be all right. I can't say the same for that tier 2 bottom tower, though. Should be very well and truly open here for TSM FTX. How's Yatoro farming right now? I mean, he at least has the BKB available, but it does really feel like he's lacking quite a bit of damage. He's going to be going for that Eye of Skadi up next, but it's going to be a hell of a long time away, and Yatoro, he's going to be very cautious here. As Moon Meander might spot him out with the spirits, and he does. 1 connects, 2 connects, but they won't be able to get the stun off. Yatoro going to be fine as they'll jump in now onto the CK. He's all right. Toronto Tokyo forced to BKB up early. Mira, he'll make the jump in. Dubu somehow still alive. Will force stuff away and in goes the CK. They've got the Shaman already. Mira, he'll follow right afterwards. It's not looking good for Team Spirit as they'll have to buy back and try to defend this top lane of Barracks. But how do you do so? BKB's gone for the Viper. It's just such a rough situation.
Yeah, I think they've got surrender to Rax. They can't get Megas because the tier 2 stands a
Oh,
long
here we go.
angle.
That's a big boundless strikeout from the Monkey King, but where's your follow-up damage? Quinn, he's just going to move in with the siphons out. Yatoro, he'll try for a bit of a chase, but TSM FTX, look how easily they just walk out of it. It was no problem.
And it goes back to that point you mentioned, Mike. BKB's faded. You just drop the pit. Sure, the Monkey King can still play an arena. Everyone else can't. Follow-up damage wasn't quite there. They do prevent their melee racks from falling here, so Team Spirit do hold on to that high ground. And they're still not under threat of Megas. But TSM have managed to waste a lot of resources out. They forced the buyback out from a couple of heroes, and ooh.
Yeah, disarm is there, at least with the taser, but it doesn't mean much. Mira still going to go down. Tomato copping the tip there from Quinn. And now, with that techie's gone, you can go back up towards the top lane. There's not really much to stop you.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't anything to stop you at this point. And for TSM FTX, the question now is, do they feel confident enough for tier 4s? I feel like they're going to need a couple more pickoffs. You do have some decent control here from Team Spirit to keep that bot lane shoved out. But it is an opening for TSM. They still got Aegis for a long time here on Tomato.
Oh, boy.
Still a bit minute here.
Oh, Toronto, don't turn around, sir. You're going to TP out right away. It is not safe. He's going to be okay. But that's the BKB gone once again. And, well, luckily for them, they haven't lost their tier 2 bottom tower yet. So there's not going to be a third high ground push to come yet. Be very, very scary times though, Yatoro. I believe he got scattered out. Yeah, he got scattered out indeed. Tomato going to force another BKB TP away. And they are just really smothering the side of Team Spirit now, just not giving the space over on the map.
Yeah, it just goes back to that Monkey King's early game presence, right? Like, you go for Battle Fury, you just don't have that presence. You're not like the CK who can just pop Phantasm with Armlet and just start running in, even without the BKB. Monkey King, Battle Fury plus BKB, just not a strong timing for the hero. And it's like you mentioned, he needs more on top of that, Mike. I mean, the Scotty's almost done. Into the Ags, maybe that's when it starts to feel a lot better. It still doesn't feel as bursty as you'd want it to be against the heroes like Underlord against the CK. And it does still feel like Team Spirit's riding off the back more of Toronto Tokyo here.
Look at this, John. Collapse, not realizing there was a ward on the high ground. That was Dubu setting up. That's a great Tinker ward being placed there by Dubu, just preemptively, knowing they would be there for the defense. Heads up play here from the Ench as they are going to start to move into that tier 2 bottom tower. And you might just go high ground. Even without the Aegis up, John, there's only one buyback available right now for Team Spirit. Be great times for TSM FTX to just move their way in, and that they will. Exorcism popped Quinn, he'll move right into the front line. How do you defend this?
you've got to find that angle. You can maybe get a good taser plus blast off from here with a follow-up from the Viper. That could be your opening.
They are going to buy back on Collapse. They've got no choice in the matter. That was the final buyback they had. They just don't have the gold for anyone else right now, as they are going to try and move in Collapse. He'll go onto the DP. Quinn in trouble. There's the heals out. Bryle, he'll frontline. Great boundless strike. Yatoro, he'll hold down 3 of them. Moon Meander, he's been targeted. They'll get 1 at the very least. Mirror, he does go down, but Team Spirit, they might be able to keep fighting. But Bryle, a great pit of malice out onto 3, and here comes the CK. It's not quite enough yet, though, but they've got Collapse. That'll be a dieback. The Dark Portal. Where are they headed? Back towards the fountain. They'll reset. They are not going to go high ground, but they've got about 80 seconds without the DK.
Now, that's massive for TSM FTX. Team Spirit forced to use a lot of resources just to hold off. They do find some punishment, not enough to really make it fully worthwhile. And the side of TSM FTX can just rinse and repeat. We're going to have Phantasm off in a few seconds. They're going to be able to just siege in, knowing that there's no DK hold. BKBs are fairly short cooldown now, half a minute, so there is some fight left for Team Spirit with Toronto Tokyo up front. And Wukong's is going to be ready with a Scotty up, so Yator can do some work here.
Oh, and they go. Maposhka right away, getting stunned up by Tomato. No hesitation whatsoever. They'll go for the Viper Strike. Yatoro, he's just patiently watching exactly what's happening around. They have no idea he's there. And he does have the Wukongs up in 1. Might need to commit straight away as they are going to move in Yatoro. He's onto Dubu on the edge, but look at this Tomato. He's got so much damage. Yatoro, he needs to get out of there, but he can't do it. That's it. GG. Collapse, he's seen enough. And game 1, it's going to go the way of TSM FTX. And I'll tell you what, Jonathan, they made it look very, very easy.
That they did. They play this really aggressive draft. They come out with the IOCK in the first phase, go into the Underlord. And, we've seen that a couple of times. Maybe not that exact combination, but IO plus Underlord.